We're delighted to be joined now on the line by comedy actress, writer and interviewer, and also lecturer, campaigner and writer on mental health, Ruby Wax. Ruby Wax, how are you?
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks.
So, you're bringing your show Frazzled, a guide to mindfulness to the Royal Leamington Spa Centre on the 17th of February. How's the tour been so far?
Well, it's, it's pretty popular. I would see the show. If I wasn't in it, I would go. Quickly buy those tickets. It's my favorite show so far that I've done.
Oh, brilliant, because obviously your last tour and book was completely sold out. How does this relate to that?
Well, that was Say New World. This is, and that sort of threw up why do we have these critical thoughts? How come I'm so mean to myself? I never get up in the morning thinking, what a wonderful thing I've done, and may I say how attractive I am today. It's not in my repertoire. So it kind of questioned why we self-flagellate and, what the world is, and I don't know. I go scatological, and in this one I tell you what to do.
I want to ask you about two of the words in the title then. So frazzled and mindfulness, they're not two words that we often come across. How do you define both of them? Okay.
What about the? And a, that's also in it, in the title. Do you want me to... No, frazzled is a real expression, and it doesn't, I always say we don't have to be stressed because we're supposed to have it, otherwise we'd still be picking our banjos in Alabama. But stressed is what the illness is now, is that we're getting stressed on top of stress. So we're the ones ladling it on. People say they can't go to sleep at night. Well, a predator didn't show up in your back garden. So it's the fantasy of what might go wrong, and I was really interested in why that happens and then what to do about it. So frazzled is those, and there's never an answer. So you can stay up all night. You're not going to come to the conclusion of, why aren't I thinner? I mean, Einstein couldn't even come up with that. So I sort of, this is our human condition now. We can whine about it, but, it's like people go, what about technology? I go, well, we put it there. Mm. So now learn to navigate the noise is sort of what the book's about and the show.
On the subject of mental health now, obviously it's something that is understandably now, and rightfully so, rising in prominence. People are now talking a lot more about mental health. How did you get into the sort of topic of mental health? Because obviously you've done, your previous work as kind of like an actress and a writer has not been directly linked, but you're now very involved in the kind of mental health scene. How did you get involved?
Well, I only got involved by accident. About 10 years ago, Comic Relief put out a poster of me without telling me that said on it, 1 in 4 people have mental illness. 1 in 5 people have dandruff. I have both. And they put it in all the tube stations. And I was mortified. So dreadful. I decided that's when I thought I'm going to write a show, and I'm going to pretend it's my publicity poster. So my first show, I toured in mental institutions, and they loved it. I would say the bipolars used to say I laughed, I cried. And I did that for 2 years, and then it went to real theaters, and it took off because you hit the nerve of something. And then out of that, in the second half, the audience started to talk, and you could really see how everybody wants to talk, not just the 1 in 4, but the frazzled, which is everybody. So I've opened these Frazzled Cafes, which are now going to open across the country in partnership with Marks & Spencer's. So if you send us an email at frazzledcafe.org, we'll put your name on the list, and so we've started these meetings that are anonymous, and you have, a mental health facilitator. It's not therapy, but it's for people who want to talk about the real thing, what's going on in their lives. And we have a lot to talk about. It's just there's no place to talk about it. So anyway, I've gone off track. That's happening in parallel with this show.
Right, yeah, because the book obviously coming out as well. What would you advise people to do? Should they buy the book first?
Buy the book.
Then buy the book first.
Or do it at the same time. Buy the book. It's like dinner theater. So you read and listen.
Brilliant. Just quickly, I've heard you talk quite a few times in previous interviews and things about your background and the kind of influence that had, for instance, your mum and dad on this particular tour.
My parents are a great source of comedy. I have to thank them for some of the great lines of our day.
Really? And what does that sort of include?
What civilized person brings dust into a building? That's her on all fours with a sponge connected to the knees and in both hands.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, it was a good one. She's like a pool cleaner. That was on all the time.
We're going to go to a quick fire round now, if that's okay, just to get to know you a little bit better.
Okay.
So firstly, what's your favourite food?
Chicken legs.
What hobbies do you have?
Sleeping and... and kayaking.
Kayaking?
Yeah.
Do you have a sports team that you support?
No.
Describe Donald Trump in one word.
You won't be able to say it on the narcissist.
What's your favourite film?
Oh, God. That's impossible. Okay, let's say Clockwork Orange.
Oh. Who's the best actor/actress that you think you've worked with?
Alan Rickman.
Who's the most interesting person you've worked with in all your different fields?
Carrie Fisher.
Who's the most annoying person you've had to work with?
Donald Trump.
And what do you do? Oh, what was that like, by the way?
You go to YouTube and check it out.
Oh, right.
He threw me off his airplane.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, you can see it.
I look forward to seeing that. What do you do to relax?
Sleep.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Ruby Wax.
Thank you.
Remember, you can go and see Frazzled, A Guide to Mindfulness at the Royal Leamington Spa Centre on the 17th of February, and also buy the book. Thank you, Ruby Wax.
Thank you. My name's Ruby Wax, and you're listening to Raw.